Hello there. My name is Joshua Harrell, and welcome to this Partner Spotlight. And we have a special guest. I always like to say that, a very special guest, but truly today is a special guest because I have known this person for quite a long time, or our paths secretly crossed for decades, okay? So I'm going to say that we've known each other for decades, but a true friend and someone who is very excited to talk to you about expedition cruising. So in today's show, we're going to be talking Hurtigruten Expedition, or HX as it is now called, with the Director of Host Accounts, Julia Swenda. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here.
So excited to have you here in the Sequin Palace. We pulled out the sequins just for you.
It is amazing, and I'm so sorry that I didn't wear my own sequins, so sorry about that.
Well, I you know what? I feel like that might be too much.
Yeah.
Is there a line that you cross?
No, well, sequins actually really don't go with expedition travel. I mean, you can bring them, but that's not usually what people do in expedition travel.
Yeah, like when you're putting together your packing list,
Yeah.
it's not a part of it.
It's very casual environment, you know. You can bring your sequins, but I think you're going to be the only one on the ship with those. So, hey, you can be special.
But you do you. Remember,
Yes.
that's always the way.
Yes.
So we used to work at the same time. We worked at QVC.
Yes.
Not in the same worlds,
No.
but just in the same building at a time. And didn't find out about it until we were in the travel industry.
100%. And it's kind of interesting in how this happened, actually. I'm friends with Joshua, obviously, on social media, and he had one of my friends like his post. And I said, Joshua, how do you know my friend who used to work at QVC? And that's how the whole thing happened. It's just such a small world, and you never know when paths will cross and, you know, how things will happen. So it's kind of fun.
Yes, but I am so honored to know you, and we have now built a friendship well beyond that time. And look, if QVC could see us now,
Oh, I know.
here we are in a sequin palace, and we're talking about expedition cruising.
Yes.
And we're talking about Hurtigruten, which, can I get like a plaque or something, because I am pronouncing it correctly, right?
Yes, you are.
I-
Yes. Very
Producer
impressed.
Evan loves the sound effects, so I forgot to warn you about that.
Okay, well, I think it's great, and I'm actually very impressed that he does know how to say Hurtigruten. And do you know what it means and what it translates to?
I don't. What does it?
It translates to fast route, and it was the fastest route to deliver mail, supplies, and citizens to the remote parts of Norway. So this man named Richard With wanted to connect these little communities, and the fastest way to do that was via ship. And still to this day, still is the fastest way to deliver mail, supplies, and people to those remote communities.
That's fantastic. But you guys have gone well beyond postal routes, right?
100%. Yes.
100%. So we're now talking expedition cruising. I mean, and we've rebranded.
Yes. So in December, good point, in December we did rebrand from Hurtigruten, and we split the two teams. So now we have our Hurtigruten Norway, where we got our start. But in 1896, just a few years ago, 1896.
Yeah, just...
Just 127,
Picture
28
it,
years
1896.
ago. Yes, we're new, 127, 128 years. We started our first expedition. But before we get into the history and why to choose HX and why to go on an expedition, I just want to show a quick video a little bit about just showing us how our evolution and how we came to be.
You know what? I love that, and I also love that you've now taken over the show and you're just calling the shots. But because I love you, it's okay. So, producer Evan, will you roll that beautiful footage?
We were born in a time of great change, when Norwegian explorers were changing our view of the world. In 1896, we set out on our great journey, driven by curiosity to sail in the wake of giants, changing our horizons from Norway to all points of the compass, where polar bears roam, penguins dance, and albatrosses float above archipelagos. We changed course, and we changed courses. We changed coats and boats, changing the ways you can discover and learn, the way you can see, feel, and hear the world around you, changing the lives of those who share our journey, with the help of those who have changed ours. We've taken people further and deeper into a world of wonder. And along the way, we changed the way we sail for everyone. But some things will never change. Powered by our curiosity, always exploring, and forever inspired to protect our home. We do all this for one purpose. To change the way you see the world.
Wow. I got goosebumps.
So where do you want to go?
I, I mean, hello. We just saw a lot more than mail delivery.
Yes.
I'm gonna. I will. I'm. That's the last time I'm gonna reference it. But I'm just saying, wow.
It's kind of.
I mean, there was everything was there.
Well, and it's hard to choose. I mean, there's so many incredible destinations. We bring you to these far to reach places, and that's really the biggest difference between expedition and those big beautiful ships. When people think cruising, they think the casinos, the Broadway shows, all of the different restaurants that you go and experience. And really those ships are incredible destinations, but that's just the thing. Those ships are the destination. And with expedition travel, we're really taking that vessel and bringing you to the destination to give you that, authentic, immersive experience in these very, very hard to reach remote places around the world.
Well, the one clip there in the video where it had the ship cutting through the ice, I can't even imagine what that would be like to be on the ship while that's happening.
And while we actually bring you up in parts of Antarctica, we bring you up onto the ice shelf and park the ship so you can get off right on the ice shelf and walk.
Okay. That's not your normal Caribbean cruise, right?
No. But I mean, how many times can you say that you've been able to experience that? It is just, there's just the wildlife interactions and the hiking, and you're pulling up to these destinations really thinking, feeling like you're the first human to walk foot onto these destinations. So you're not going to have any ports, you're not going to have any docks per se, maybe in some of the locations like Iceland or something, because there's some infrastructure there, but you're really pulling up to these locations and you're like, wow, I'm the first explorer here, and you're seeing maybe a pod of whales in the distance, or if you're seeing any type of pinniped, so whether you're different types of seals, and then there's just all the different penguins too. So you can pull up, I remember I had elephant seals and I had penguins, and you just had seabirds, and you just had a little bit of everything in a live volcano, Deception Island down in Antarctica, which is incredible.
Okay. That's more than I could take in. I mean, we've got the seals. So you said history. Let's go back. So
Yeah.
So first, it was about getting around Norway and connecting these very rural areas. But so how did this expedition cruising get started?
I know. Thank you. You're trying to reel me in because honestly, I'm just so excited to talk about the destinations and the experiences. But
Yeah. But
really,
I want to know how this happened, because it's like it's
good point.
It's I've known that you have done expedition cruising, and I've known that you've done Norway. Like you said, you split. Now it's Hurtigruten. HX. I got it.
Yep, thank
Expedition.
you. So the one thing is so back in 1896, he wanted to venture out, and so he took this small little steamboat ship, and if you saw the ship today, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you've come a long way. And you'd be kind of scared to go on it. But in 1896, this is what they did. And they brought out canoes and kayaks, and they went to Svalbard. And if you're not familiar with where Svalbard is, it's that northern archipelago that belongs to Norway. And there are more polar bears than people there. So he's like, let's go out and adventure. And that was where we did our first expedition in 1896. So we've just, started going all over the world. We've been in Antarctica for over 20 years. I won't go through all the destinations because I know we'll get to that a little bit later, but the history was we just wanted to connect people from all over the world and just explore. Bring out your inner explorer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And to even have that, I mean, to go all the way back to 1896 and think, you know what, let's bring people to experiences.
Yeah.
And that takes a very special person, and so. But thanks to him, now we have HX.
And Expedition Cruising, you can say that we were the founders of Expedition Cruising because of Richard With. And I know it's probably not a well-known brand here in the United States. We've been in the U.S. for about 7 years, but we've been all throughout Europe and all throughout the rest of the world. So if you go anywhere around the world, you'll see our infamous jackets and you'll see our branding. And many, many people know who we are and have traveled with us all over the world. So we are a very, very well-known brand. Just we're trying to bring more Americans to get this experience as well.
So if you want to be more of a trailblazer, go with the brand that has not been a part of the North American scene for very long. I much rather be a trailblazer than a follower, right? But I must say that I shared this with Julia when she came to the studio, that I was in London in the fall, and Hurtigruten, it was everywhere. It was in every tube station. There were commercials running. It was all over my YouTube. I was surrounded by it, so I can attest to the fact that around, at least around London,
Yes.
it is a well-known brand. So you've definitely got the history behind you, and you have been doing it for a while. Now we have some footage. It's one thing to talk about expedition cruising, and people think about like around the world and 80 days or whatever that book was, and everybody, the adventures and things like that. But we have a ship tour, a video of a ship tour that we thought would be cool just to talk through. So producer Evan, can you run it? And we're going to talk over it because there's going to be some, and Helga is our host.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we're going to just talk right over Helga.
Sorry, Helga.
Yeah, so she has got a wonderful presentation, but we wanted you, while we were talking about Hurtigruten expedition, we wanted to give you some visuals just so you can actually see the ship, and hopefully, please email Helga and let her know that.
I'm going to say sorry. We didn't mean to talk over you. But I just thought this was a good way to show one of our ships. This is the Fridtjof Nansen, which is one of our hybrid-powered ships. And I'll tell you why the hybrid power is important in a little bit. But like I said, let's go back to those big ships that most people think about when they are going on a cruise. So you will not see any casinos, you will not see any Broadway shows, and these vessels are just merely the vessel to get you to the destination. But we don't want you to give up your creature comforts. So for instance, we have water stations all over the place. We provide a water bottle for you. And with our sustainability program, which I'll go into a little bit more.
Look at that view. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract you,
Yeah.
but I mean, hello, just like, here's my view.
It's a huge LED screen that goes from deck 4 all the way up to deck 10. So it's really, really nice, and they can change different. I mean, those are the fjords of Norway with the cascading waterfalls. I mean, it'll show different penguins and different scenes of where we visit and where that ship goes to travel to. But she'll be showing all the different suites. So if you are somebody who wants their own fireplace or wants their own jacuzzi, their own private jacuzzi on their deck, we have that capability and we have that availability. So there's one of the jacuzzi suites. Yep.
Oh, and I like that little shield because I hate when I'm in a jacuzzi and a little cold air blows on me. Like, I'm like,
But it's a hot tub. You know, just go underneath and it's nice and warm.
I know.
And then we have, I mean, those comforters, I will tell you, I've had people ask me, do we sell those mattresses? And I'm like, I don't know, I can ask, but I don't even know where we get them. But the comforters and the mattresses and the room sizes are actually very, very large. So you will never feel cramped on these. And as you can see, you're not sleeping in a cot. You're not sleeping in a hammock or anything. You're going to have a very comfortable bed. The floors are heated in the bathrooms. So that's really nice. You have a nice toasty, floor on the bathroom. But just the ships are very, very comfortable. She's going to get to our science centers. So we were voted the #1 best science program by Cruise Critic. We've won it for many awards, but especially just for 2023. So we have top scientists in their fields that you can go on our science boats.
Well, and I think what's great, and the reason why we wanted to show this video was that this, we wanted to show you the laundry room.
No, well, this is our talking about our sustainability, and it goes, but this is one of our suites, so this is why I really wanted to show as well.
Right, but I think the whole point of this is when you think of expedition, you are thinking of something maybe a little more rugged.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
We were joking about you don't need to pack the sequins for this trip. But you are not roughing it.
No, you are definitely not roughing it.
No. There was a fire pit in that suite.
Yes. And jacuzzis on your own private deck.
Heated floors in the bathroom.
Yes.
So that is not roughing it.
Yeah, and you have 3 different restaurants to choose from. You actually have an exclusive restaurant as a suite guest, but for the non-suite guests, we have 2 different restaurants to choose from. So all of our food is sustainably sourced, so you're going to be eating fresh every time you go to our dining. So whether it's fresh fish or fresh farm, fresh vegetables, plants, we work with local farmers and local communities for that as well. My favorite is the thread time, which is you can get your burger and fries, your steak and fries, kind of like your bistro menu, which is really, really nice. And then Lindstrom, of course, is your exclusive restaurant for the suite guests. And that is, you have pairings, so it's your typical 5 to 6 course meal every day or every night for dinner.
Because that's how I eat at home.
It's just normal. You're a private chef.
I don't want to interrupt my schedule. Like, I want to go on holiday and have the same type level of service, right?
And it's a different menu every day. It's a different menu every day. So
I love it.
Yeah, just wanted to show you that. But going on, we believe in edutainment. So she's getting to the Science Center soon, I promise. But there's so much to show you on the ships. So many different observation decks and places to hang out and have a drink.
I don't stress about the Science Center. We do believe that one exists.
Yes, it's coming, I swear.
But there are a lot of bars. I think we do need to establish that. But I think overall, just the reason why Helga is taking us on this tour is to show us everything. Here we are finally at the Science Center here. Look, that is not a basic science center.
No, it's state-of-the-art microscopes. You have your activity center. Think of it as your own mini museum, and you're having people who are professionals in their fields that are able to speak to you. I call them the ologists. So if you want to talk with a marine biologist or a biologist or a glaciologist or an ornithologist, like whatever they are, they're experts. And we have historians. I know people who have lived in Antarctica, for instance, and they'll lecture all on what it's like to live in Antarctica and what that experience is like, living in 24 hours of darkness, which we don't travel to, don't worry about that, but also just having no hours of darkness. So that's what you typically experience when you travel with us to Antarctica. But yeah, just wanted to show a little bit about one of our ships. So to show you're not roughing it, you're having all your creature comforts on board.
Well, I thought they were spitting into a bag. They were.
But that's actually, funny you say that, that's a Secchi desk. And if you're not familiar with what a Secchi desk is, it's something that Fridtjof Nansen, the Norwegian explorer, actually invented. And this is the Fridtjof Nansen ship named after him, which we do deploy the Secchi desks on our science boats.
But
How interesting is that? This is our expedition.
But what am I
lunch.
doing? Am I spitting?
No, you're not spitting. He was smelling. So you actually
okay.
put it into
I
the...
really thought you were going to say, no, that's actually what's happening. All right, producer Evan, I think we're done with this video. I think we've gotten off track completely. We're talking about spitting in bags, and now we're smelling. I'm so confused.
You're collecting samples to go and bring back to the Science Center to look through.
Interesting.
So that's what the scientists...
So I'd be looking at...
water samples, algae, like different, wherever you are.
Oh, so I am not a scientist, but I can play one on TV.
You can bring out your inner nerd.
Exactly. I'll have to. I need different glasses for that. I mean, these kind of borderline, but I need more like.
They're always fabulous glasses.
But this whole HX experience is it's not roughing it.
No.
We've already established that it's not
Correct.
roughing it. But it is definitely an adventure.
Yes.
It is definitely broadening horizons, and it is definitely something that you will never forget.
Yes.
I would assume that I'm probably not going to go on the same itinerary again. I will probably go on HX again because I've been enriched because of it.
Well, it's funny you say that. A lot of people will fall in love with a specific ship and then follow that ship around the world.
Interesting.
So our ships go from the Arctic to the Antarctic. There's only one that we keep not in the, we just keep in one location, which is our Santa Cruz too. But most of our ships go from the Arctic to the Antarctic. And enriching your life, I know it sounds cliche, but really when you travel to these places and you see just how large, I mean, I'm sure you've been to Glacier National Park, or you've been to the Puerto Moreno Glacier in Chile, in Patagonia area. And
I'm sure you have.
yeah, I mean, all the places, right?
I have not been to any of those places. But
these places, are beautiful and incredible destinations. But when you go to a place like Antarctica and you see just mountains that are covered in glaciers, and you see snow-capped mountains that just for days you're just blown away.
Yeah.
So if you have never been to Antarctica, make sure that you go and see all the glaciers before Antarctica, because all the other glaciers were just going to look minuscule in comparison. But you can get up and close personal with hiking. We take you kayaking, and then you can also camp in Antarctica. So if that's been your dream, you can camp in Antarctica on the ground.
Yes. Well, I want to remind everyone that's tuning in live that this is your chance. Please feel free in the chat to ask questions of Julia. If you want to know anything about Hurtigruten expedition, please feel free to share that in the chat. I will pass on the questions. Or if you have experienced one of these expedition voyages, we would love, I know Julia would love to hear, or maybe you've got something, a trip on your wish list. Please share that with us. Give me some inspiration. Where should I go? Where do I need to go?
Oh, I can tell you.
Well, let's let them say first. Now, I was joking a little bit when we were watching the video, because I just happened to look up right at that moment, and we were in the laundry room, and I'm like, why are we looking at the laundry room?
Okay.
And you guys have a very, sustainability is a big topic for many, many brands, but it is very, very near and dear to your heart. Environmentally, as well as for the community. And we have a video package that I'd like to run, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All
I'd love
right.
that.
Evan,
Earth Day is a chance to reflect on our ambition to be the world's most sustainable adventure travel company. We believe that travel can be a force for good in the world, connecting people with incredible places that inspire us to protect what we love. When we travel to a destination, it's about being mindful and respectful, with intimate experiences between us, the communities, and wildlife we encounter. Our responsibility is to ensure that adventure travel is done in the most sustainable way possible. And we are investing into technology and solutions that address how we operate in a carbon-intensive industry. Our priorities are to get to zero emissions by 2050, eliminate waste, and positively impact the communities we visit. We are retrofitting more of our fleet to become hybrid-powered. We are working with guests, crew, and local suppliers to reduce our food waste. And we're going hyper-local in partnership with the Hurtigruten Foundation, supporting 30 projects in more than 12 countries. By signing up to science-based targets, we're constantly monitoring the impact we're having. Because if we do this work, not only will we benefit, but we can share what we learn and inspire others to create systemic change. We want to leave future generations with a world worth exploring.
Sustainability, yes, it's important. But if you're watching closely, did we see two types of iguana?
Well, so yes, in the Galapagos there are two types of iguanas. There are the marine iguanas that are actually, they dive into the water and swim. And then there are also the land iguanas. So it's just the theory of evolution where Darwin came up. And one of the things you'll experience while in the Galapagos with us.
Wow. I mean, the sustainability message was not lost on me. It's just, I was like, wait, whoa, I'm not used to, yeah. Anyway, so, since 1896, exploring the world.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So, you guys are on this mission to make sure that future generations can continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sustainability, you're hearing this all throughout the world. It's like what everybody wants to do. It's kind of like the it thing to do. But Hurtigruten Group and Hurtigruten Expeditions has been the most sustainable cruise line in the entire world for many, many years. We've won numerous awards. Since 2008, we have not used heavy fuels, whether it's LNG or natural gas. We also are the first company in the world to build hybrid-powered expedition ships. And with that, we sustainably source all of our food, like I said previously. So we work with local farmers and local fishermen. Just make sure that you are eating fresh, but as well as the guests are eating fresh. And then also we not only try to make the environment a better place and leave the better place. Oh, and we do beach cleanups. I forgot. Where else in the world can you say you've done a beach cleanup in the Arctic?
Girl.
So
That's
you don't necessarily have to partake, but if it's something that's important to you, you're 100% welcome to go ahead and partake in these beach cleanups. But I watched a documentary that actually left a big impression on me, and I wanted to make sure that the company was doing the same. So when you travel, a lot of those communities that you're visiting typically do not get $1 from the voyage. You think you're going into a shop and you think that you're helping those communities when you're visiting, but in actuality, you're not. So what Hurtigruten Group really wants to do is that when we are visiting those different communities, we work with the local communities to make sure that the dollars that you're spending on your trip actually impact the communities that we are going to. So, for example, when you go to Greenland, we work with the Greenland community, and we have set up a school there to educate the children, to teach them about tourism. Then we bring them on the ships to show them that they can be engineers and scientists and chefs and all the different facets in the cruise industry. And what was really neat is that we brought one of the children back, and he's now a tour guide that gives you tours when you go to the community.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And then also another story, I could give tons of stories, but I'll give one more. But we work with communities in Chile. And when we were going down there, some of these kids had never seen an elevator before. Some of them have never seen, just a ship. They've never met certain people from around the world. So we were able to bring them on board. We fed them lunch and we showed them the science center and just got them excited, brought them on an elevator. And they loved it so much that they wrote thank you letters to the crew and to the captain. And they used all their school supplies. But thankfully, we had a sister ship coming and following us on the way back. So we were able to give them more school supplies and microscopes so they could set up their own science center.
Oh, that is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is very cool.
So it's not only about the environment, but it's also about the communities. So sustainability, it goes full circle.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, kudos to you guys, and thank you for trailblazing. I'd say that is definitely a Hurtigruten expeditions and group. That seems to be a part of your DNA as a company. So we do have some questions I want to hit.
Great.
So Cheryl said, if you are in a suite, do you still recommend making dinner reservations?
So you definitely do not have to do dinner reservations in a suite because that is you're going to have an assigned table. So you get your exact table every time. So you show up. So you do not have to do dinner reservations in a suite.
Oh, fantastic. And let's see. Amy is looking at a promotion for young explorers, and just said, could you ask if you could speak about kids programs and what it's like on board for kids?
Sure. So kids, depending on the destination, we go to so many different destinations all over the world, and it really is age specific, I guess you could say. In the Galapagos, our kids program is fantastic. What it's like on board, they will be trying to go to bed by 5 o'clock. So they will be starting at basically 6 a.m. and just busy all day long. Our naturalists will work with them and just bring them just different experiences, take them into the science center, that sort of thing. And then, I could keep going on, but we have our snorkeling and our supping and our hiking and everything. So they're very active. But the good thing about traveling with kids on board is that if you're taking them out of school or if they're taking them out of anything, you want them to learn while they're on vacation. So knowing that you're bringing them to a program that has science and that has experts on board, they're going to be learning history, they're going to be learning about animals. But there's so much that you cannot learn in a classroom. You're bringing them to the places where they can go and experience it with their own eyes and talk to them and ask the questions they want to ask to the experts that are, teaching them.
Yeah, that's a very cool aspect of this, because not to knock a teacher has to, guide students through so many different subjects. But the fact that they get to be with the ologists, like you said, hello, that's a lesson in and of itself. All the different ologists, that would be very, very cool. I mean, what a gift to travel with kids, grandkids. That's a great experience. But again, you're really expanding horizons and teaching and you were talking about the sustainability experience. What would that be like for a kid to meet another kid who has never experienced an elevator like that?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of just brings. We never really realize our own reality is very different from other people's realities, right?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of travel. I know many people will probably never ever want to, leave their hometown, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is an incredible world out there, and I just want everybody to see it because wow. I've been blessed with the gift of travel since I was little, and I didn't realize the gift my parents were giving me until I started paying for myself. And just seeing, there is a world out there, and we do live in a bubble here in the United States. We're very, very lucky, but get out and see this wildlife, and just, I cannot tell you. I'm very passionate about travel, and that's why I made my passion my career, and I just like to get everybody on board and just to explore and learn more and see more.
Definitely. Well, Cheryl has another question. She said, are there connecting staterooms offered for families?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a great question. Okay, so...
Way to go, Cheryl.
Yes,
Thank you.
way to go, Cheryl. So there are lots of connecting rooms, depending on the location and depending on the ship. In the Galapagos, we have 31 interconnecting rooms in the Galapagos. That is massive. We also have family suites on board that ship. And then on our larger ships, the ones that go from the Arctic to the Antarctic, we do have connecting rooms as well. I don't have the exact amount of rooms that we do have.
It was going to be a quiz. We were going to quiz Julia and...
Oh, but you know what? I even forgot to say the most important thing, too. That our ship sizes, so I know a lot of people are used to thousands of people on a ship. Our ship sizes are 500 passengers down to 90 passengers.
Wow.
So that's a big difference, too. And I can't believe I didn't talk about that, but sorry about that. I missed an important detail.
We got time.
I know, but, there's so many things to talk about. I just,
Right. But I having been on a gigantic ship.
Yes.
And then experiencing a smaller ship, that is very different.
Yes.
It is. It's quite shocking, especially if you've been on a lot of ocean cruises before, to experience the ocean on a smaller ship. It's like, oh,
yes.
Wait a minute, that's different.
It's a very different experience. You have a lot more room to roam. You're not fighting, for space. You don't have lines, things like that people are used to. It's actually a very relaxing, I don't want to say campfire-like environment, but it's kind of like, hey, you just had this incredible experience on Zodiacs and experiencing, let's all get together around the fire pits or, in the infinity pool or the jacuzzis, and you can talk about that too.
Yeah, you're definitely. I think you'd all agree. Julia is extremely passionate about travel.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, give us some hearts and likes and love around that. That would make me very, very happy. But keep your questions coming, Cheryl. Thanks for asking some really good questions. Now I wanted to shift gears a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of you would like to know a little bit more about the destinations. Julia kind of alluded to the fact that they go to a lot of destinations, so we're going to put her on the spot and just say, tell us about the destinations. What are the top destinations? So, all of our agency owners and advisors out there, what are the go-tos that you think they should have right in their back pocket if someone's talking about HX?
Okay. So the hot place right now, I feel like everybody is in Antarctica right now, right? And the important thing is that we've been in Antarctica for over 20 years. So that's important to know. We've been to Antarctica, so I'd say our top right now, Antarctica, just because that's where a lot of people are wanting to go. It's their last continent that they have to hit. So, that's the bucket list for many people. I would say the Galapagos next. And then Alaska, Iceland, Greenland, and Svalbard. Svalbard is, I think that's where I'm going this summer. I want to go to Svalbard and Alaska. And those two destinations specifically because I have been to Alaska before, but I've never experienced it expedition style.
Okay.
So even if you feel like you've been to Alaska, I guarantee you will have a completely different experience on one of our ships. And the reason for that is the most popular place, and so many ships do it well, are Sitka down to Vancouver. And those are where most of the ships go, but they don't go into those inner, if you look at a site called Cruise Mapper, you can see where all the ships are around the world. The HX ships are always by themselves. So you will always be in these hard to reach places because our ships are small, but we can also take those Zodiacs out and take you to those hard to reach places. So we go to places like the Aleutians, Nome, St. Matthews Island. If you're familiar with all the bears in Alaska, it's kind of a bucket list thing for people who want to go. So we take you bear cruising. So bear cruising on Zodiacs. So we take you through Kodiak and I forget the name of the other place, but it's really, really, we take you bear cruising so you can view the bears from the safety of the water and from the Zodiacs. So just a few things, but Svalbard, we're more polar bears than people. I want to do that one. Oh my gosh, so many.
Do you have a thing for bears? I'm just curious because you're kind of like, you want to do over here. I want to see the bears in Alaska. Then I want to go see the polar bears.
Okay.
Like, I mean...
Well, I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
I'll tell you why. Because I've seen penguins pretty much everywhere you can see penguins in the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay.
So I've already done the penguin tour from the Galapagos down to Antarctica.
Okay.
So you can start with the northernmost Galapagos, or the northernmost penguin in the Galapagos, or you can head down to Antarctica and see the southernmost penguin. But now I've never seen a bear in the wild. So now that I've done penguins all over, and I want to do bears now.
There you go.
So you just got to make these lists and make it happen, right?
Right. So are you a penguin or a bear? Where are you in your list?
I'm wildlife. I just want to see wildlife. I just want to see wildlife.
So
Where do you want to go?
I don't know. You know what? I have I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Galapagos.
Galapagos?
Yeah, I think it's got to be that.
It's a great place. Hey, it's warm. You don't have to bring jackets. You don't have to bring the heavy gear.
Yeah,
So.
I mean they've got all types of wildlife.
Yes.
So
no bears though.
No bears. No bears. Booby birds.
Yes.
Yes.
The blue-footed
boobies.
boobies and
Yep.
the red-footed boobies.
Yes. Yeah. So I remember that from my nature books when I was a kid.
Yep.
So I don't know. Where would you guys go? That's what we want to know.
Yes.
Where would you guys go? And also, are you a bear or a penguin? Like, where are you? and are you compartmentalizing? Are you doing the penguins first and then doing the bears, or vice versa?
Well, I will say, if you've already been to Antarctica, we have this itinerary. We actually have a few itineraries that are just something that you won't see other places. It's called the Northwest Passage. And if you're familiar, it's an area that is riddled with history, and we'd be here all day. We'd need hours to just talk about the history of the Northwest Passage. But we have about 5 different itineraries, some that start in Reykjavik, Iceland, and then go to Greenland and go up through the Baffin Bay all the way to the Bering Strait. So it starts in Reykjavik and ends in Nome, Alaska. And that itinerary, if you've ever heard of the elusive narwhal, they do exist. It's called the unicorn of the sea. So it's a whale, but it has this tusk on the front.
Yes.
Yes, and they are real. And
Why have I heard it? Like, has this been in like a movie or something like this? Or?
Well, they're like mythical creatures that people never really think about, or they don't think they're real, but they're real. Like, there's 170,000 narwhals that reside in the Baffin Bay, and if you're lucky, you can see some of those pods. But that's one of my. If I had a few more weeks, as Americans, we only get a certain amount of vacation time. But that is one of the itineraries I'd like to see and do. But you brought up the Galapagos, and you want to go back to the Galapagos, right? Or you want to go to the Galapagos?
I want to go, and you brought a little video package, so can we take a look at that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then we can
Then we can go into some details. So, all right, Evan, roll that footage.
We're here.
So cool.
The sea lion.
This one is actually probably jealous. This is Puerto Llora.
So beautiful.
Landscape.
What a day.
And if you are just joining us, this is Julia Swenda with HX, Hurtigruten Expeditions. And we were just taking a look at the Galapagos. And it was a quick look. But just during the break, or it wasn't the break, it was while you were watching the video, I'm watching the video too, the marine iguana was spitting.
Well,
and
it's secreting. Yes,
a much better word than spitting. And Julia's educating. I don't even need to go because she's educating me. That is them clearing out the salt. I'm fascinated. You have been so transformed from your travels, and like you said, and just to clarify, yes, we are talking about Hurtigruten expeditions, but you have been traveling all your life, and travel is that important to you, that you do use your vacation days for travel. So this is not you hawking your wares, talking about itineraries. This is, you are passionate about this, and I hope it comes through to you guys in the audience. And I just want to, you got a shout out from Amy, who got to hang with you at World, our conference in Orlando. So she got to hang with you, so I wanted to call that out. Anyway, Amy, thank you for sharing that. So Galapagos. Everybody's talking about it. It's. I mean, you said Antarctica's hot, but Galapagos right now, for those of you who are members of our network, I would definitely recommend, if you're watching this live or in the near future around the recording, make sure you look up Hurtigruten Expeditions in World Via Pro and look up the supplier page, because there's some special opportunities that you can offer your clients that we're just going to push you there for you to get those details. And
I forgot to even tell you why we're special in the Galapagos. So we work with the founders of Galapagos Cruising, who've been in business for 75 years. So they handle all of our logistics and all of our itinerary planning. So they are truly the experts. If you wanted to see something specific, they will be able to tell you where, when. They'll be able to show you everything with that. So if you wanted to see red-footed boobies and their hatchlings, if you wanted to see a specific bird, if you wanted to see a specific, the penguins, and then you also have the seals, and you have so many different things. Like you have the frigate birds. So those are those black birds with those big red pouches. So anyway, what they do is they're such experts, and they're the ones who do the kids programs on board, and they're the ones who are your Zodiac drivers and everything. But also with our ship in the Galapagos, we have 31 interconnecting rooms. That's more than any other ship in the Galapagos, and we're the only ship with family suites. So I forgot to say that as well.
Well, you didn't miss out. You still got to get it in. But like I said, definitely check out the supplier source for a very special opportunity that we have with Hurtigruten Expeditions.
Yes.
As well as, that is where you will find Julia's information if you want to reach out and touch somebody's hand. She definitely would love to work with you, partner with you, and help you develop your business, especially in expedition cruising. Especially, they invented it. So, go with the people who've been doing it since 1896. I mean,
use me. I mean, I love to travel, and I love expedition travel. It's why I got into this. I used to work in Sun and Fun,
Yeah.
I used to work in Sun and Fun, and that's a great product as well. But if you know me personally, you know that I love to be active. I love to go kayaking. I love to go hiking. I don't really care about the dress up nights. That's not important to me. But what's important to me is to see something that I've never experienced and something that I've never done before. And I'm a destination collector, I guess you could say.
Oh, I like that.
And every person that goes on an expedition trip, I feel, is a destination collector. Just going, what's next? They don't want to go to what everybody else is going to. And I think that's why expedition is just so fascinating to so many.
Well, you when you were talking about that website where you can see where all the ships are, I thought that was fascinating about how you can see where all the HX ships are and that they're going to be on their own,
Yep.
all by themselves
Yep.
because they are going where others do not go.
Absolutely.
And that speaks to a very certain type of traveler. And if you are a travel advisor who is, who has those clients or who thinks you have those clients, because sometimes you're like, I'm not so sure. Please reach out to Julia because
Use me.
yeah, use her. That's actually her job. That's her job to help develop a business with you. She wants to help you succeed.
Yes.
And too often, I know our members will hear me say that. I don't know why I always say often. Like I got to get all often whenever I say often. But too often it is you reach out when there is a problem.
Yes.
A problem with a booking, but get to know the true experts behind a brand well before you could possibly need them if there is ever a problem. Develop your business with them.
Yeah.
And think about all the destinations that we talked about. We only talked about a few. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, we only talked about a few. We showed you poor Helga. We talked over
Yes.
her entire thing. But we showed you how really luxurious your ships are.
But it's a very casual, very comfortable experience. I always say, I mean, just come as you are. So
Yeah.
after you come, you don't have to worry about getting dressed. You don't have to worry about
Get dressed.
Well, I mean,
It's not that type of cruise.
It's not that type.
no.
Unless you charter, I guess you could do whatever. If you want to charter the whole ship. But no, it's really, it's all the people who love to travel but just don't really care about, certain things, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But we're going to get you. You're a destination collector. We're going to get you on board.
Yeah, I gotta do this.
You're
I gotta
going
do this.
to.
Yeah, especially with the I am a vain person, so that giant screen that you have. Can we put pictures of me on there? Like,
Maybe we can make that happen. I don't know who I have to talk to, the expedition leaders, but we could definitely see.
They're like, that's not our normal request.
They'll be like, we see them in the wild. This is who is on the itinerary. But it's the expedition travel, especially with HX. We believe in quality over quantity. So you're definitely getting the best of everything when you're on there. We're going to bring you to the premier destinations, the premier locations. Just make sure that you're able to experience those premier locations, and just give you the best experience. If anybody has been on one of our ships, please let us know. I know that I've just talked to so many of the community, of the travel community, that's come back and just have raved about it. They're just like, this was life-changing, and I'm not saying that to be cliche. It truly is, especially places like Antarctica. So just go. I implore you all to go. And if you want to get a group together, call me. I will help get your friends on board. Let's get everybody on board because this is a really, really good way to see the world.
Yeah, what a great group opportunity, because this is really something that is unique and would be it would be something that has a gravitational pull on its own, right? And to be able to do it on a small ship, and to be able to do it as a group, very intimate experience and something life-changing. You get to meet all the ologists. Right?
Yes, all the ologists.
All the ologists.
You'll be besties with them by the end.
I think that's a perfect way to sell that. I think that in and of itself, but that doing these types of trips where it is truly life altering, where you are going to, I don't know. I loved when we were touring the ship and seeing yes, there are the bars. Yes, there are the restaurants. And Cheryl asked if we had to make a reservation. We don't. If we are in the suite, we
Nope,
do not.
not in the suite.
We have our own table. But we have all those things. We've got the science center. We've got the ologist. We've got the areas to relax. But then we've also got zodiacs. And we've got hiking and camping. I mean, just a lot going on.
Yes.
So you and I were talking earlier, and I think it's a good point for mobility. So you were saying, you know, a lot of people think that expedition has to be running, jumping, and climbing trees.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be
No.
that. It can be that if you want it to be.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And thank you for bringing that up too, because that's a question that I do get often. You do not have to be a triathlete. You do not have to be a marathon runner in order to go on an expedition. If to go onto the zodiacs and to just do that and to get off of the zodiacs, you just have to be able to walk up and down a few stairs. And if you can do that, you can go on an expedition trip. And even if you're not mobile and if you don't have that mobility, we do have accessible rooms on the ship. So you can still enjoy the science center, you can still enjoy all the lectures, you can enjoy all the fun things, and you can even enjoy all the sights. You just may not be able to get onto a zodiac.
Gotcha. Well, Zia joins us a little bit late, so missed when you were talking about what is the top destination, what's the hot destination right now, and you said it was Antarctica.
Yes, right now I feel like everybody wants to go to Antarctica, followed by the Galapagos. We're seeing a lot of Alaska, Iceland, Greenland, and of course Svalbard. So I know I listed a ton of hot destinations, but it's kind of top two, Antarctica and Galapagos, followed by Iceland, Greenland, Svalbard. It's just because they're small ships, so we're just seeing what's selling right now too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Iceland, Svalbard.
Yep.
Okay, those, not necessarily, the ones that I would be thinking about. So, there's an extra, I can broaden my portfolio, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And the thing about Iceland, I always say it's kind of like our expedition light, because there's so much infrastructure there that you're going to be doing a little bit less of the zodiacs there, but you still have that expedition feels. You're still going to get in the kayaks. You're still going to go kayaking and hiking and all of that fun stuff. It's just a little bit less, but you get to these hard to reach places in Iceland. And also we have the most circumnavigation itineraries than any other company. So if your dream is to see more of Iceland, because Iceland's such a beautiful destination, but we circumnavigate more than any other company. So that's good to know as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, before we say goodbye, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that you can find Julia's information in World Pro in the supplier source. Just look for Hurtigruten Expeditions, HX, as it is now called. It's gonna take me a minute to get used to that, but you can find her information as well as all the latest news and any promotions or special education opportunities or events. You're gonna find that information there. If you have not met Julia yet, she definitely wants to hear from you. So please reach out and give her a ring. Say, hey, let's talk about expedition cruising. I want to go bear cruising with you. I think that is on the horizon for me. But I am just so tickled that you were able to join us live in the Sequin Palace. Thank you for joining us for this partner spotlight.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, any reason to see you is always the best. So I'm so happy I'm here.
Aww,
and thank you all for tuning in too. I really, really hope to see you all on an expedition cruise soon.
Very, very cool. So you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
And we are going to keep on exploring.
Yes.
And we're going to think about the environment and the community as we travel. So generations to come can travel. And let's follow that lead that Hurtigruten has taken. Until next time, I was your host, Joshua Harrell. I'm still Joshua Harrell, but I will join you for another Partner Spotlight coming up very, very soon. So please check the events calendar and see you then. Take care. Bye.